Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. Now, if you listen to this interview anywhere else but within our private Facebook community called High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle, then definitely come check us out. We'd definitely love to have you. That community, it was put together specifically for coaches, consultants, and service providers who are serious about getting up to that 6 and that 7-figure level. So if that's you, definitely come check us out. So as you know, my name is Extus Justin, and today I want to introduce you to another one of the members of our community, Deanna. Welcome, Deanna.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, you're welcome. So, and you said you're in Copenhagen, right?
Yes,
Awesome.
Copenhagen, Denmark. It's amazing.
Yeah. What's it like back there? And have you lived there your entire life?
Yeah, not in Copenhagen, but in Denmark, yes. And it's nice. We're okay, all things considered. So it's a good place to be at the moment.
Yeah, awesome, love it. So tell myself, Deanna, and the rest of the community, what is it that you do?
Well, basically, I am an accountability partner. So what I do is I help others reach their goals. I help set goals and plan them out. And then I am the accountability partner to actually reach them. So that's kind of the basic of it. One of the things I do, I mainly focus on people who want to start writing books. So I do challenges on that. I am going to start very soon a group, a mastermind group based on this as well. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so helping people reach their goals, that's kind of my main thing.
Yeah. Okay, good. And what got you started down this path? What did you do beforehand?
Actually, what got me started was me writing a book when I lost my dad. Mm-hmm. I took an NLP course and was writing a book based on being relative to someone who is long-term severely ill. I live with my husband who has MS. So it's all about taking care of me while I also have to have the energy to take care of my husband. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what got me into this whole thing, because I realized how many people are not taking care of themselves, and a lot of planning. When you have a life where you are living with someone who's ill, there goes a lot of planning into it. Mm-hmm. So I figured out that that's what I'm really good at. So that made sense to kind of go in that direction.
Yeah, awesome. So, you said you wrote a book. What's the name of your book?
It's called I'm Also Important. It's in Danish though, so it's not quite the title, but but yeah.
Okay, it's not translated into English at the moment?
Not yet, not at the moment. I plan on doing it at some point. Just I have a lot of things going on right now, so that's not right now, but it's going to be.
Yeah, awesome. Well, tell us a bit about the projects you have going on.
Well, other than starting the challenges for helping people get starting on the books, I am also at the moment starting a new podcast that I am interviewing people for. So that's going to be called Fun with Fundraising, because one of the other things I do a lot is fundraising for the MS Foundation in Denmark. So I really want to be contributing, and I want to be helping people get really great ideas on how to fundraise for their charities. So I'm starting this podcast, and the idea is in time to figure out how to monetize that in some way as well. So having that as base of my business alongside with the accountability part.
Yeah, okay. And when are you planning to launch this podcast?
Sometime during this September. So within the next month. I'm not quite sure yet, and it kind of depends on when this is being aired. So so sometime during September.
Okay, good, awesome.
Yeah.
So, and you said so on the accountability side, you said have like the list of segments of individuals you currently work with are individuals wanting to write books.
Yes.
Yeah. Why did you get started with that niche?
Because that's the thing I have the most experience in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to do something where it makes sense, because I know, based on my education, also have a master's degree in branding and communication. So I know I can do a lot of these things, but it's so much easier to attract your audience when you can show people you've done something you want to teach them, is my experience. So that's why I'm going in and doing books, or working with people who want to do books, because that is something that I really know how to do.
Mm-hmm.
And helping them launch their books and get going on writing their books. It's actually not even launching their books, it's way before that. It's starting it. So it's starting the process, setting the goal of what's the book going to be, what is it, how long is it going to be to write it, and making a plan for the whole process of creating the book. And then also, of course, helping execute that plan with the accountability part.
Mm-hmm. Are there any specific types of books you help your clients write, or it doesn't really matter?
It doesn't really matter to me. What I notice is that I attract people who would like to write self-help books, which kind of is that makes sense, because that's also what my book was. I'm not really that fond of calling it a self-help book, but it really is, because it's all like half the book is tips and ideas on how to take care of yourself. So, so that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense, right?
Yeah. Okay,
So
good.
yeah, but it really doesn't matter though, because the process is the same. So you need to make the plan to get going, and that's what a lot of people have difficulties with. That is the getting going part. It's making the dream into setting the goal and then making the actual plan. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of the process that I help them with.
Yeah. How do you work with your clients at the moment? Do you have like a group coaching program? Is it one-on-one? How do you doing?
It's one-on-one at the moment. So I'm doing the challenge, which I'm doing to get customers in. So the challenge is free, of course. And then I do one-on-ones, and then I am going to launch a group coaching program.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully by the end of the year. It's not quite set yet, but that's the plan, at least.
Yeah. Okay, awesome, awesome. So what would you say is one skill you've really practiced that you would say is responsible, and really a core attribute to your level of success today?
Sorry, come again. I
Yeah,
didn't quite get.
what's one skill you've like practiced, something you've really practiced that you would say got you to where you are today in terms of success wise?
It's actually two things, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
The goal setting planning part is so important, but it's also just taking the steps. So actually the most important thing is to not get wrapped up in my own head, which I know I do that sometimes, and I know a lot of people do that. So I think a lot about what I'm going to do and then never get anywhere, but actually just starting. And then when I made the choice, now I'm going to do something, and then from there say, okay, so what is the specific goal that I'm going to be reaching, and how am I going to do it? That's kind of what makes it work.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good, good. And what about what's your process for being that accountability coach? How do you get someone to a point where you do hold them accountable? What does that look like?
It kind of differs, actually, because it's a lot about figuring out what is the person that you're sitting next or sitting across from, or who you have on Zoom. It's either doing chat in Discord or Facebook, or the platform that makes sense for that client,
Mm-hmm.
on a daily basis, saying, hey, how are you doing? I know we have these goals. How are you doing for the day? Or it's a weekly call, just to look at the weekly goals. So it all depends on how does it fit into the schedule and the mindset of the person I'm working with. Someone would also rather have two like bi-weekly calls to go. So it depends on how you're motivated, how much do you need someone to actually talk to, because some people work just knowing that there's someone there to ask, and then I'll just check in once in a while and say, hey, how are you doing, and have a small talk. But other people really need to have like every day someone saying, hey, how's it going with this and this and this, and someone is okay with just being weekly. So it kind of depends on the client.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you kind of tailor it to that type of individual and what they
Yeah.
need.
Yeah. And then the idea, of course, is when we do a program, there's going to be also the weekly mastermind type meetings where it's going to be a smaller group of people, but then they're also going to be creating accountability for each other, because they get to know each other and each other's projects.
Mm-hmm.
So other than having me on, they also have the group dynamic of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool, awesome. And in terms of the vision that you're currently building towards, what is that vision?
I have two actually. One is, of course, to have a really good income, making it easier to have a life where I don't have to work as much.
Mm-hmm.
And that's based on having a husband that is he's doing okay, but he still has an illness that is very unpredictable. So I would love to do that, of course. And then the other thing is, I have a goal of fundraising 5 million Danish kroner towards the Danish MS Foundation within my lifetime. And I'm hoping it's going to be less than my lifetime. The next goal I have going towards that is fundraising $100,000 in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working towards it nice and slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. That's
So the charity part is a big part of me as well, because it's so important. It's such a big part of my life.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay, good. Now, what about I guess books? Are you a big reader? Are you using the podcast? How do you get your current information?
I do listen to a lot of podcasts, and I listen to books. I do read a little bit on my Kindle, or physical books for that matter, but it's not a lot. It's too time consuming to be reading. So I walk my dog twice a day usually, so then I would put in a podcast or an audiobook and get my input that way. For one of the books or one of the authors I'm very inspired by is actually Gretchen Rubin. She's wrote a book that's called Better Than Before, which is about habit creation. Mm-hmm. And she also wrote a book that's called The Four Tendencies, which is about figuring out how you respond to building habits that work for you, so that you can be these 4 different types of person, and how do you react based on that. Mm-hmm. That's really interesting, I think.
Yeah. And I guess the whole concept of audiobooks, that's a fascinating concept, right? So like trying to read a book and sitting down and having to be really busy and making the time, versus being able to put in the audio and walking a dog, cleaning, doing whatever.
Multitasking.
Yeah. It's an amazing invention. I love it. Okay, good.
What do you read?
So for me, and that's the same thing with me as well. So actually, because I started this show, what is it? About 2 months ago. So a lot of my that has replaced a lot of my reading, because with the guests I bring on a lot of smart individuals, and I in a sense learn directly from interactions with them like this. Although one of the things I was actually last night, I found it really. Because I was just doing a bit of browsing. I was just browsing to see different things. And I came across a few different business individuals who built pretty successful businesses. And I kind of, the type of reading I love to do is reading about how they see the world, what they do, and how their business structured, all these different things. So I could kind of take that and kind of apply it to my teams, my business, and ultimately what we're doing here.
Be inspired.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I think it's funny because I get that as well, but I also know for myself that when I have an idea and there's something I'm really going for, I shouldn't be reading or watching anything that's too close to it. based on the fact that I tend to copy, not on purpose, but I get derailed from my own thoughts and ideas. And inspiration is great, but I found that I should do it in, like, for example, when I'm doing a challenge on planning, I shouldn't be reading books about planning. So then I'm reading something about masterminding, for example, instead. And doing like that, being very careful about how do I what's the input I get in relation to the output I'm working on at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have that.
I've never thought about it that way, but that is true. That is true. When you're like, in essence, whatever you kind of put in your forefront, it's almost like nothing else exists except for what's in front of you. And if you're doing something similar, then the tendency is just to say, well, I'll just either copy this or it'll come up maybe the exact same way that somebody else already created it, versus if you say, okay, I'm gonna do this, but you find my own inner inspiration or whatever. I think I definitely understand. Yeah, makes total sense.
Yeah, because like my logo is this blue color of my jacket, and when I got the logo made, then all of a sudden, every time this blue color comes up, I notice it, and it is like this thing that what you focus on is what you do and what you get and what you see even more of, right? So
yeah. Awesome, love it. So goodness, I can't wait for your podcast to launch as well too. I think having a podcast show is it's a really fascinating thing as well too, because again, you get to share ideas, and you get to meet a lot of interesting people. And are you going to have guests on your show as well too? Is that the plan as well?
Yeah, it's actually going to be two-part. I'm going to be releasing 2 episodes a week. One is going to be following my 2021 goal. So I'm going to my 2021 goal is going to be to raise the $100,000, and I'm going to do it where I get companies to donate based on how much I walk for the year, the month, of the week, or individuals.
How much you walk?
Yes. So if I walk 10 kilometers, then they donate $10. So they will donate $1 per kilometer I walk for the year. So, or the month of the week, depending on how large of a donation they would like to do. Right. Yeah. So one of the episodes is going to be that project, where you follow that project, follow my finding sponsors and donations, and also when we move into 2021, following the process of me walking or running and doing steps. And then the other part, like that's going to be the other day of the week, I am going to do interviews. So I'm interviewing amazing people who have fundraised themselves. Some of them started their own charities. Someone have just been fundraising for small things, but it's all of them are like having amazing stories. Someone is fundraising for his son's school. Someone sold everything and moved to Guatemala to start a school themselves. So it's all different people with amazing stories, and hopefully I can then inspire others to do fundraising for their charity of choice and give them ideas on how to do that.
Okay. Okay, good. What about oh goodness, the question slipped my mind. Oh, you said someone, so you actually know someone who moved to Guatemala to start a school?
Yeah, I didn't know him, so I've been scouting the internet and asking people for who wanted it to tell their story, and he said he would love to. So yeah, he and his family, they sold everything, and then they moved from the States to Guatemala to start a school and a clinic and just do work down there. It was, I can promise you, that's an amazing episode to listen to. It was a really cool story.
Yeah, awesome. And the reason I ask as well too, because yesterday I actually interviewed a guest, and she does something similar in Guatemala as well too. But she didn't build a school, and she didn't like sell all the stuff to move down there. But once a year, she travels out there and a family, and they actually go out there and they do participate in the schooling and all these different things to kind of just help out there. And I think she's also looking for like just support sponsors, those different things as well too. I think it would be
If
pretty
you
cool to connect those
put
two.
me in contact with her, that would be amazing. I'd love to share a story. That would be
Yeah,
really cool.
awesome. I guess
Yeah,
I'll just make a quick note of this here. Okay,
yeah,
good.
for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, and what about so ultimately, are you big into sports and stuff? Are you a runner? Oh, yeah, are you a runner?
No, no, not really. I actually, this spring there was gonna be a charity run that I entered, and it was like 5 kilometers that I was gonna run, and I would be able to run 5K, but I need to train for it.
Yeah.
But everything got canceled, right? So it was a charity run. So what I ended up doing instead is, in the end, I walked the 5K with someone from the MS Foundation, but
Mhm.
that was kind of the end culmination of me having done 3 months of auctions for charity. So I asked my entire network to donate stuff, like not stuff because it was companies donating their products and services to me, and then I auctioned it off in this group. So we collected about $10,000
Mhm.
within that time for the MS Foundation as well. So I'm not a runner, but I do run when it's
Mhm.
important for the cause.
Yeah,
I do
awesome.
run. I run for results. That's what
Yes,
I'm running for.
yes, I love it. I love it. Yeah, because I was just thinking, I was like, man, what you got going on, that would mean that you have to do a lot of walking. But as long as it's for a good cause, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Someone I interviewed, it was a couple of days ago again as well. I think she said she walked like 500 and like 30 something, either miles or maybe kilometers or something. It's like what? And I think she did it in like maybe 30 something days, which was fascinating because I've never really gone that much distance, but I always think it's fascinating to meet individuals who do or are able to do that type of stuff.
For sure. I'm not really a long distance walker either, but me and my mastermind group, we're gonna be training for the Camino to walk this summer or
What is,
next summer.
hang
That
on, what
is
is a
not this
Camino?
summer, next summer.
Tell me, what is a Camino?
It's it's a pilgrimage walk in, and don't ask me a lot of questions about it because I don't really know yet. We just decided it ends in Santiago, and it's a pilgrim's walk. That's all I'm gonna say, because then I'm not gonna say something not true.
Yes, yes. That's fascinating. You mentioned
Google
that.
it.
Yeah, yeah. It's fascinating because the woman I was just telling you about, that's the one she walked. And that's why I was
Ah,
thinking, is a Camino, is it like is it, are there multiple in different places or something? Or is it?
no, I think it's just the one, and then the idea is it's like, I think, and I'm not quite sure. I think I've heard it's like 900 kilometers long from one end to the other. But
Mhm,
what people do is they will just enter it at the point where they say they have a week's vacation. Then they'll enter it at the point where they think, okay, I want to be walking 20 kilometers a day. Then I'm going to enter it at 140K before the
mhm,
goal and do that. And so some people walk the entire thing, but it takes a while.
mhm.
And others just kind of measure it out and see how long can I be walking and to actually reach. It's
Yeah.
I as far as I remember, it's some small church in Santiago. That's the end goal.
Mhm.
But again, Google it because I'm not sure yet. I'm just interested in the walking part mostly.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I think I might introduce you to that other person as well, too, because they recently completed one of those. And the way they said it happened as well, too, because they planned out for a couple of years beforehand, and I think she planned out with a friend or something. But then I think like maybe a couple of weeks before they were actually supposed to leave, that friend kind of backed out, and she's like, "Oh,
Oh,
what am I gonna do now?" But she said another one of her friends said, "Yeah, let's do this," and they actually went out and they actually
oh,
did
that's
it.
cool.
Yeah.
A lot of people do it alone though,
Hmm.
because you meet so many people on it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people just do it alone.
Got you. Awesome. Sounds
Yeah.
exciting. Well, big sure you take
Yeah.
pictures and document the journey. I think it'd be
For
fascinating.
sure. For sure we're gonna do, because yeah, it's gonna be amazing, and it's gonna be good for my 2021 goal of walking a lot, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Deanna, if someone wanted to connect and learn a bit more about what you do, what's the best way for them to be able to do so?
Um, Going to my website, which is smartbusinessplanning.com, or shoot me an email at Diana, Diana, so Diana in English, at smartbusinessplanning.com, I guess would be the easiest ways to get a hold of me.
Awesome, perfect. And I'm not sure when this interview is gonna be launched, but I do know you have something that someone could maybe look up as something, a challenge or something. Tell us about that.
Yes. So the challenge is start your next book, 5-day challenge. And I'm running it multiple times. So I'm running it now, and then I'm going to run again in September and October. So look it up, and if you can't find it, shoot me an email, and then we'll figure it out. And of course, as well, the podcast. Oh, please do go and find the podcast. It's going to be called Fun with Fundraising. So yeah, it's going to be, and there's an Instagram account based on that that's called Fun with Fundraising as well. So please do find me. That would be amazing. And if anyone has a story that about fundraising they would like to share, also if they've tried something that didn't work, something where they were thinking this is going to be amazing, and then it just totally failed, I would love to share those stories as well, because we learn from each other, and it might be that someone else can make it work. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And guys, if you're watching this interview on the live or the replay, number one, leave us a comment below. Let us know you're there with us. And secondly, all the links that Deanna just mentioned here to connect with her, they will either be above or below the video. So you can click and get connected right to her. So again, Deanna, hey, thank you so much for making the time to be here today. Do you have any final thoughts before we end?
No, I'm just thank you for having me. This has been amazing, and I hope to get to know you a bit better, and maybe even you have something charitable that you could share about at some point, but I'll learn that another day.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. Well, again, thanks again. We'll talk soon.
We will. Thank you.
Have a good one.